This lesson is going to be on changing scales and scale drawings. If a student was to use a ruler to make a measurement of the length of their foot, which choices would be appropriate measurements? Select all that apply. So using this ruler. When you're using the ruler, there's certain numbers that you're able to find and certain numbers that you're not able to find. 9 1/4 is a possible measurement. 1/4 would be the line a quarter of the way between 9 and 10. So if we look at this ruler, this longer line is a half, then this slightly shorter line, but longer than the others, would be 1/4, and then on the other side would be 3/4. 9 5/64, there would have to be 64 increments, which there aren't on our ruler, so that's not possible. 23.47659. Again, our ruler is not going to go to that many decimal points, so C is not possible. D, 23.5 centimeters. Centimeters, this longer line, not as long as our main lines, would represent a half. So 23.5 would be possible. And 23.48, that increment of the hundredths is not possible on my ruler. So here's a scale drawing the average 7th grader's foot next to a scale drawing of a foot belonging to the person with the longest foot in the world. Estimate the length of the longer foot. So I would first use my ruler to measure each foot to find the scale. When I measure the shorter foot, that's about 6.5 centimeters. And this longer foot, that's about 9.5 centimeters. So I determine that my scale factor here is about 1.5 times. So the largest foot is 1.5 times longer than the 7th grader's foot. And based on our numbers up here, we know that the 7th grader's foot is 9.25 inches. And if we're multiplying that by 1.5, because it's 1.5 times larger, we would have 13.875 inches. So the world's longest foot would be about 13.875 inches. With this drawing, we completed this one in class, so we're not going to do it now. And now here we have a scale drawing of a playground. The scale is 1 centimeter to 30 meters. We're going to make another scale drawing of the same playground, but this time with a different scale. 1 centimeter equals 20 meters. So I'm going to first start by measuring my scale drawing to determine the actual length. Side A is 2.5 centimeters. Side B is also 2.5 centimeters. Side C is 4 centimeters. And side D is 6 centimeters. So now to find the actual size, I can just multiply each of these numbers by my 30 meters. So 2.5 centimeters would be 75 meters, because all I did was 2.5 times 30. So side B would also be 75 meters. 4 centimeters would be 120 meters. And now 6 centimeters would be 180 meters. Now to create my scale drawing using 1 centimeter equals 20 meters, I'm going to take the actual size to 75 meters and now divide it by 20 to figure out how many centimeters it would be. So that would be 3.75 centimeters. So that's for A and B. For side C, 120 meters divided by 20, that would be 6 centimeters. And 180 meters divided by 20, that would be 9 centimeters. So my new scale drawing, side A would have to be a little bit longer, because now it's 3.75 centimeters. Same with side B, 3.75 centimeters. Side C would now be 6 centimeters. And side D would be 9 centimeters. And if we want to know how the two scale drawings compare, the second scale drawing is larger. And we can determine that by looking at the scale. So if we notice at first, the scale was 1 centimeter equals 30 meters, and then we change it to 1 centimeter equals 20 meters. So when you have the smaller the scale, the larger your scale drawing. And if we wanted to determine how many times larger it would be, we just take the 30 centimeters, or 30 meters divided by 20 meters, and we would have 1.5. So it is 1.5 times larger.